Yeah, so this model currently only operates with the high and low pressure nozzles. We don't have the actual aeration system because it doesn't work on Earth, but we'd like to test that, so make a model and kind of simulate that as best we can on Earth.
Can we get another round of applause for the team?
Okay, so when you're presenting, can you please leave the mics on and try to avoid this side of the stage because this is where the feedback happens. So stay in the center, leave the mic on, and then we all should be able to just focus on the content of your presentation. You don't have to like fiddle with the mic. Thank you.
All right, sweet. So I will try not to be on that side of the stage then. But yeah, so next up we have the Care Ascension team. So if you all would like to come to the stage, and then I believe Sam will be zooming in for that project. And there will be time after the presentations to take a look at the models and the prototypes, which will be all on the left. So. Also like a mic. Anyone else like a mic?
One in the middle and one on each end.
Oh wait, no, I'll just.
By any chance, do you guys know where the clicker is? Oh, this. Oh, okay, perfect. Just okay. Yeah. I think it's too late. Okay, I'm just gonna start. So, hi, my name is Ashley, and I'm one of the co-leads for Care Ascension, and then we are mobile resources for the unhoused. Does anybody know how to turn this on? Okay, just kidding. Okay, so our team, our mentors are Bianca and Ian. Our community partnership committee is Mike and Jamira. Our UX and UI team is Miriam and Maya. Hardware team is me, Sam, Sebastian, and Jocelyn. And then our business operations team is Kezia, Maria, and Ethan. Okay, so I want to ask you all a quick question. When you guys all get sick, who goes to the doctor? Who has the ability to go to urgent care, the hospital, or any type of doctor's office with a raise of hands? Yeah, that's a majority of us, right? We found actually that a lot of people unfortunately don't have access to go to hospitals, to go to doctors. And because of that, 732 people that are unhoused died in 2022 because of their lack of access to healthcare. And that's a 42% increase from 2021. We also found that the unhoused population has limited access to cell phones. When they do have a cell phone, they either get lost or stolen, or they just don't have the means to afford anything. Because of that, that creates a barrier to communication. When you aren't able to call doctors, 911, the police, you end up having unresolved medical challenges and unresolved issues that unfortunately you aren't able to combat. We found that there is a big disparity in healthcare access, and to really bridge that gap, we found that technology is the best solution. That is why Care Ascension is in the process of creating a digital payphone. Now I'm going to pass it on to Maya to talk more about what the digital payphone entails.
Thank you, Ashley. So the digital payphone is going to be our mobile resource that we are we have built, and it is developed for easy and accessible access to healthcare, and it gives people a private sense of being in this phone booth with a chair and a table. And along with this, there's going to be the iPad interface, which will be the main feature, and it's very intuitive. And we created a calming app design where they can get aftercare with the touch of a button or any help that they need. And it is very privatized to keep people inside of this phone booth from the outside world. And now I'm going to pass it on to Sebastian, and he's going to talk more about the phone booth itself.
Thank you. To talk more about it in depth, the booth has a relaxing scent in which it will comfort the person using it. And air conditioning is also applied here. The booth is also enclosed by polycarbonate windows, in which it will ensure that the person using the booth will be secured and their private time will be respected. The booth also comes along with a chair and a small table in case if the person needs any personal necessities of their own. And now I will pass it on to Miriam.
Thank you, Sebastian. So if you can look at the first picture on that one, the first one. So that's going to be the main page that everyone's going to open to. First, if you have immediate like emergence help, you're going to click the first button, and it will take you straight to the second picture where you can call 911, any crisis you have, like a domestic hotline or anything like that. And then we'll go back to the first page. It's going to be like more like if you have like additional resources. So if you click on that, you can look at the third page. That's where you're going to go. You're going to have access to additional information that you might find helpful, as well as events with AZ Hugs, like family picnics or any other resources that you might want to meet with them. And for the last one, it's just going to be like more additional resources, because the population we're dealing with might not have been exposed to technology or health as much. So we want to help them as much as possible as we can. And as Maya said, we want to make this super easy and straightforward to them. And I'm going to pass it back to Maya to talk more in detail.
Yes, so within these phone booths, there's going to be sessions when people get inside of them, and each session is going to last around 40 minutes, and it's going to be safe for the users inside with a remotely controlled lock that we will be able to control, as well as temperature control to keep it cool within the summers. And there's also going to be a camera inside to ensure the safety when users are inside. And we are going to be placing it in convenient locations, starting with Tempe and Phoenix areas. And now I'm going to pass it on to Kezia to talk more about our partnerships that we have.
Thank you, Maya. So we've had the amazing opportunity to partner up with the St. Luke's Hospital and AZ Hugs. We've had many meetings with the founder of AZ Hugs, Austin Davis, and he was able to better educate us on the topics of homelessness in Arizona, and we were able to get hands-on experience with their free Sunday picnics for the unhoused. And through him, we were able to have a partnership with the St. Luke's Hospital, where one of our locations will be at. Now I want to pass it on to Jocelyn so she could tell us about the homelessness population.
Thank you, Kezia. So I want to note that there is an increasingly rise of homelessness and lack of health care within this community. In Tempe alone, there are 355 individuals who are unhoused. In Arizona as a whole, there are 13,000. As we look at this graph, we can see a drastic increase throughout. It is important to note that homelessness is a global issue, and unfortunately, the government has failed to address these issues and healthcare disparities within this community. That is why we, Care Ascension, have provided a cure to this homelessness. With the opportunities invested in our booth, we are certain that these numbers will decrease. I will now pass it on to Mario, who will discuss of some of our latest achievements.
Thank you so much, Jocelyn. As for our progression of Care Ascension, the first thing that we did was design our V1 model of our booth, as you can see above. Next, we partnered with Austin, as Kezia said, with AZ Hugs, which allowed us to have conversations with the locally unhoused and understand better their medical problems. With that partnership with AZ Hugs, we were able to partner with St. Luke's. Finally, I'm going to pass it off to Ethan to talk more about our launch strategy.
Thank you, Maria. So when we launched, we have 3 grants, one from the Nonprofit Trust Organization, one from Instrumentals, and one from the Health Representatives Resources Administration. And we have a business-to-business with St. Luke's, insurance agencies, and the AC shelters. They entrusted us to launch within the next 6 months. And now passing on to Mike to explain how we'll expand.
Thank you, Ethan. So yeah, in regards to expanding our impact, we will be locating our booths outside of St. Luke's, Tempe, and also downtown Phoenix. And as mentioned before, the reason why we have these booths in these certain places is not only because there is a high demographic of the homeless, the unhoused population, but also because there's a lot of negligence within the hospital and most of the healthcare settings in general. So with that, having these booths will be able to provide the unhoused with more resources to be able to have better transportation, and also it will take away the financial burden that they may have too. So with that being said, I'll be passing it on to Ashley for more further detail.
Thank you, Mike. So I'm going to briefly discuss our timeline to ensure that we can guarantee this impact. So in November is when we started our partnership with AZ Hugs. From there, he was able to tell me about the different disparities he has faced as the founder of his unhoused organization. March and April, we are in the process of building our V1 and V2 booth as well. We also want to, like Jocelyn mentioned, make a global impact. So we also will be developing a proposal that will be submitted for the MIT Global Challenge as well. And then during the summer of June and July, we want to begin beta testing as well as launching our first booth. Being that we do have a partnership, so we also want to launch our 2 new locations as well. Now I'm going to be passing it on to Maria to talk about our financial ask.
Thank you so much, Ashley. Care Ascension is asking $12,000 from investors. This will enable us to do several things, including build 3 booths, as we mentioned, in Tempe, downtown, and outside of St. Luke's. It will help us provide healthcare access to over 3,000 unhoused individual people in Phoenix, and then it will also allow us to form relationships with local governments and nonprofit and for-profit organizations. I'm going to pass it off to Ashley to finish us off.
Okay, so once again, we are Care Ascension. We are in the process of making a digital booth to not only combat healthcare disparities, but also to expand crisis and emergency resources. Thank you for your time. Do we have any questions? Yes.
2 questions.
Yes.
How are you guys funding this? And then 2, where is the $4,000 cost per unit coming from?
Okay, so for your first question, how are you going to... we will be applying to different grants, and then also through the Global Health, MIT Global Health Equity Challenge. It also gives you grants that you are able to kind of financially help us pursue the digital payphone, helping it launch in different nations globally as well. And then your second question, $4,000 per unit. What? Yeah, for sure. So we chose $4,000 because one, we live in Arizona, so we do know that there's going to be different elements to the payphone that we want to definitely accommodate to. 2, there is a digital platform as well, so making sure that one, vandalism doesn't occur, and with the $4,000, it'll help ensure that with a digital payphone, we are able to kind of be able to accommodate everyone's needs, making it wheelchair accessible, making it so that people don't have heat exposure. So with the $4,000, we can really ensure that everybody has, I guess, their needs met with the 3 locations. Yes. Did you?
So it does have a remote controlled lock that we will be able to control, so they wouldn't really be in control of that, and it's just to help, like, if someone's trying to get in while a session is going on, to like stop that, or as Ashley said, like vandalism could be a big part of it, especially with the areas that it's in. So yeah. I believe so. We're gonna have a camera on the inside to watch people, just to make sure that they're safe in there, and just to make sure nothing happens. Yeah. Ashley, do you know anything about that?
Yeah, so with the camera, we will be having somebody else, I guess, in a security committee. They're going to be the ones overseeing, making sure that one, people are using it, as well as knowing who is, I guess, vandalism, who is going, I guess, past their 40 minutes. We definitely will be adding another committee to making sure that someone on the other side is overseeing the camera quality. And then I know you had a question. question. I think that has to do with kind of like the same security committee that we're going to be having. Someone is going to be overseeing the cleanliness of it as well. Obviously, with it being a for public use, that is something that we have to take into consideration. Being that we will be adding another committee, I think that they'll be the ones not only overseeing security but overseeing cleanliness as well. It's a good question. Wait, Sam, did you want to answer that question?
I couldn't hear it. Could you guys repeat the question?
Yeah, do you want to repeat your question? Let's say it again.
I still can't hear.
With your security guards in place, how are you ensuring your patients' privacy in the booth when talking about their health?
Yeah, it's a great question. Of course, anything related to HIPAA is very much a priority. We won't be collecting data from their calls, but we'll have access. We might take out the audio part and solely do visual so we can ensure that the users are safe and that there's nothing going wrong inside the booth that could cause harm to them or disrupt their services. So yeah, we won't be collecting data. We won't be taking audio from their visits. They'll be everything inside the booth will be confidential.
Do we have any more questions? No? Okay. Thank you so much for your time.
Wonderful. So next up we have our conversation team. Can we give them a round of applause as they walk to the stage?
We've all been there. You're 13 years old. It's time to have that conversation. The birds and the bees. Some parents try to verbally explain it to you, whilst others try to pull out books and pamphlets. You start feeling uncomfortable. That makes them start feeling comfortable, and they try to back out of the conversation. Hi, my name's Brianna, and today I am with Chase, Titus, Anna, Rose, Savannah, Lauren, and Robert, and we're presenting Project Conversation. Communication is never ending, yet not a lot of us spend time learning how to hone in our communication skills. A study done by Ketchum Communications showed that only 31% of people believed that their leaders were good communicators. Now, this is quite surprising, knowing that communication is one of the most sought after leadership traits. We've all been there, watching that speaker lose their words and stare up into the abyss, or even with that one friend who starts telling a convoluted story, even at the workplace. It is shown that ineffective communication causes corporate errors about 70% of the time. Now, that's why we're here today. Rose is going to tell you a little bit more about our research and how we got to this problem.
Thank you, Brianna. Building on the importance of effective communication, our research brought interesting findings to the table from professionals with AI, psychology, and child development backgrounds. Now, you may be wondering who these individuals shown are on the screen. Well, starting from my left, right over here, we have Raghu Sentinam, a notable interview of ours, where we sat down and discussed using AI in creative work and learned how AI was being incorporated into higher education, in the medical field, and how AI provides more opportunities for people to become more productive. From this, we decided to extend our research into the fields of dating, youth connections with parental figures, and connecting with others professionally. As team change occurred, so did our focus. We shifted towards harnessing the power of AI to enhance communication and deepen the understanding of verbal and nonverbal cues, which leads us to the middle, Kelly Davis right over there, where she offered invaluable insights into the dynamics of the modern dating culture. Lastly, we have Danielle McNamara enlightening us on the intricate relationship between children and technology. Now, I'd like to bring your attention to Chase because during our research, we found a potential competitor in the market. Chase, take it away.
Thank you so much, Rose. So, as Rose mentioned, there's always going to be competitors out there when you have a new idea. For us, the one that came up was Mumpkin. Mumpkin, however, is also still in development, much like us. However, Mumpkin is not offering the things we offer. Not only that, we are going to beat them to the game by using Chat 4 and other various chatbots to help accelerate our project and get it off the ground and get it running. So, I'm going to hand it off to Bree to tell you a little bit more about this project.
Thank you, Chase. Recognizing how important communication is in our lives, we present Project Conversation. This is a revolutionary platform designed to help you better connect with others and better your conversational skills. On this versatile platform, you can practice anything from small talk to casual banter. Whatever your communication needs may be, Conversation stands ready to assist you. In Conversation, you can create personality profiles. This enables us to understand your unique interpretations of each individual you hope to chat with. From there, you will be able to provide situational context with the individual you would like to chat with, and the AI will participate in dynamic dialogue, allowing you to become a better communicator. At the end of the conversation, the AI will provide constructive feedback, allowing you to understand how that interaction went and how to better it. And of course, at the end of the day, we believe that everyone has a voice, and it's our mission to ensure that your voice is heard. Start the conversation today. Chase is going to tell you a little bit more about our objectives for this.
Thank you so much, Bree. So, this is not only our objective, but more of our mission. We are here to build better relationships, both from professional to relational, from just your family member trying to ace an interview. We need to build better relationships. Using this in combination with therapy will help accelerate your skills from communication to just how to deal with emotions, etc. So, therapists can use this and give it off to you because you're not always going to be able to talk to a therapist, but you will have your phone in your back pocket. Pop in a quick question, ask for feedback. We are here for you to have this conversation. And Lauren, can you tell us more about that target market?
Absolutely. Now, with Conversation, our aim is to extend a helping hand to individuals who may be seeking guidance within various types of conversation, whether they be professional, friendly, or personal. Our target audience predominantly includes teens and young adults who may be looking to enhance their conversational skills for tough conversations, class presentation, or just general interview preparation. Additionally, we aim to connect parents and teens alike to encourage positive bonds. And hey, while we're at it, why not enhance those conversational skills for that upcoming date? With Conversation, we are committed to ensuring everyone's success and happiness through effective communication. Now, Titus will give you kind of a rundown of what the development of Conversation will look like.
Thank you, Lauren. Conversation is a very large project, so its development is going to be split into 3 stages. The first stage is going to be our website, and that is going to be roughly 4 months from now. It'll be fully functional. It'll have communities you can access, courses you can take, and blogs you can look at for all your conversational needs. The next stage is going to be our AI chatbot, which is going to be roughly 10 months from now. This is the chatbot you've been hearing about. It is a great tool for learning how to speak, practicing conversations, and getting feedback on what goes right and what goes wrong. Our last stage is going to be 1.5 years from now, and that is going to be our Companion AI. Companion AI is an all-new innovative tool that'll be great for getting feedback on how you look while you're speaking and how you sound when you're speaking. To learn more about Companion, I'm going to hand it off to Savannah.
Thank you, Titus. So, Companion AI relies on body language and posture to tell you how you are sounding and how you are speaking to your audience so that your actual words get across. This is based off a Bing interview. However, we're adding an extra factor that can really care for your emotions and care about all of the conversations that you are having. This bot is added onto our conversation bot using the same, roughly around the same AI when giving you feedback. To know more about this subscription factor, I will pass off to Rose to talk about our potential revenue streams.
Thank you, Savannah. Conversation's complete suite of revenue streams offers multiple opportunities, not just for individual users, but for teams as well. Starting with our monthly $5.99 premium subscription that gives you access to features including advanced metrics, support groups, and professional courses. And to get started on our team plan, you only need a minimum of 3 members. This offers a competitive rate of $3 per person and gives features such as creating communities and assigning courses or blogs and sharing companion conversations. These revenue streams drive growth for conversation and enable us to foster collaborations with organizations dedicated to enhancing mental health and meaningful connections, all creating a mutually beneficial ecosystem that supports our shared commitment to well-being. And Savannah mentioned in her part about having a companion, and everyone could use one. That's why it's crucial to have partnerships in these big innovative projects and ideas. But I would like to pass it back to Savannah to discuss these further with you all.
Thank you, Rose. So when looking into information on our AI bot, we have reached multiple hopeful partnerships that we can use to better our bot and better their therapy resources. These include Better Health, Talkspace, Girls Empowerment Network, Suicide Hotline, and Psych for Life. With looking for these partnerships, we look into how they are treating their patients regardless of insurance status and their information that they put out there. Hopefully, when we partner with these partnerships, they can provide our bot well-trained information that we can give to the user to provide better and well-built conversations. To talk about our team, I will pass it off to Lauren.
Thank you, Savannah. So while our service is AI, it was created and will be maintained by real people. We have multiple students who are currently pursuing degrees within the medical industry, and additionally, we have students who specialize in business, law, and linguistics. Now, Titus, you want to finish this off for us?
Yes, I will. Now let's revisit that opening scenario. Let's go back to the birds and the bees with mom or dad. Let's say they practiced before they talked to you. They used conversation. They said what they were going to say, they learned that it didn't work, and they learned from conversation on what to say. Now let's go even further. Let's say they went to companion. They approached you with a friendly face now instead of this awkwardness, and you just felt so scared. Now everything is all good with this conversation, and your day goes on just great. That's the power of conversation. It is such a good tool for parents to use, and is a great tool for deepening relationships with friends or family. But that's not all. It's also a great tool for businesses to use. Imagine you have an interview coming up. You need to prepare for that. Conversation is there. You'll be the best candidate. You'll get that promotion or that job you're looking for. That's what conversation can do for you. So why not? Start the conversation today. Thank you. Now, any questions?
Yes.
What kind of AI do you guys plan on using? Like a large language model, or do you have any specific idea?
So currently, as I had mentioned, because we're still in development, so we will be using like Chat4, Bard, Microsoft Copilot. We're going to be using these as basis for our future AI model, but obviously we will plan to develop our own, a stronger one, but we're going to be using this as our base source for now. Of course. You can ask questions.
Go ahead.
We love to have conversations.
You can laugh too. All right, thank you so much.
Thank you guys. Have a great day.
Hello? Okay. Down button, okay. Hi. It's lovely to see you guys here today. I know you guys came from across the country, from Boston, from Tennessee, and it's truly incredible that I'm here today presenting this wonderful project to you guys. My name is Connor Owens. I'm the lead for Project McVolta, and I'll be handing it over to Anthony to start us off.
Thank you, Connor. Before we talk about McVolta and the mechanical battery, I just want to touch on the chemical battery and the negative sides about it. So when talking about negative chemical batteries, I'm gonna talk about the negative aspects where it's really unsustainable. An example of this is you buy it, then you use it, and then you just throw it away, you toss it. But when you toss it, it goes to a landfill where it impacts the environment negatively. Another big problem with chemical batteries is that when mining with lithium, it pollutes water and air. Next, I want to talk about the battery market. So APS made a deal with Arizona for a total of $294 million. When growing up the market value, globally, it's worth $210 billion. Next, I'm going to pass it off to my friend Lex.
Hey, thanks, Anthony. For research, in addition to what Anthony mentioned about groundwater being polluted, we also found that there is room for improvement in terms of battery life cycles. We were convinced that we can increase this battery life cycle, and we also thought there has to be a better way about the pollution aspect. So what are we going to do about it? Essentially, we are going to reimagine every stage of the chemical battery life cycle, from production to usage to disposal. Now I'm going to pass it off to my friend Jewel.
Thank you, Lex. For our solution, we wanted it to be long-lasting, and to achieve this, we used strong materials like steel for the axles and springs and aluminum for the body of the battery. We also wanted it to be sustainable, so we used sheet metal, which is 100% recyclable. And our battery also produces a strong output of 12 volts and 0.5 amps, and we achieve this with the use of constant force springs. For our environmental impact analysis, we studied and researched the longevity and recyclability of all the materials used in our battery, and we found that all of the materials have a lifespan of over 6 years, and nearly all of them are 100% recyclable. I will now pass it off to Abram to talk about how our solution works.
Yeah, so how our battery works is you have your excess energy in electricity, and it comes to our motor within our battery. This motor will now convert the electrical energy into kinetic energy by rotating an axle, and on that axle is a bunch of constant force springs, like you can see up there. As the constant force springs are wound up by the motor, they really want to unwind and spin backwards. And as they spin backwards, the motor will then change that kinetic energy back into electricity, which you can use for any of your energy needs, and you can power whatever you need. I will now pass it on to Ruby.
Thank you, Abram. So here we have the competition, and you might be wondering at first sight, what was our metric for sustainability? Because as you can see, all 5 of these are carbon neutral. The CO2 emissions are not a problem with these. So our metric for sustainability was mainly in the materials, the production methods, the mining, and the waste. And so with all of these, the materials being used, with the pump storage hydropower, they're costly, but with all of these, they're not that sustainable. They get dumped in landfills, and they take a while to biodegrade, or they harm the ecosystems. And so really what we're trying to do here is making sure that our battery is long-lasting, that it's safe, the materials are not toxic, that it's sustainable, it's recyclable. We're doing a lot of metals, and metals we can melt down and reuse because we make them to fit our battery. and to make it a low cost. So here we have our timeline. As you can see, we have a prototype here, and we are aiming to have a second prototype done, eventually moving into a larger market, especially exploring more sustainable mining, production, and waste disposal, even in transport practices. So next we have our team. As you can see here, our whole team is here, and there were a lot of ideas put in, a lot of time put in on the product production. So thank you so much for listening. Any questions?
Thank you so much. Yes. Wonderful. Okay. Off the top of my head, I don't know the exact number, but a 9-volt battery, it's 1% the charge capacity of a 9-volt battery. However, I will say the lifespan of it is 15 times greater than a 9-volt battery. Just right now, the constant force springs, the restriction we're having is when we're trying to store more energy, the energy puts stress onto the mechanics, and putting the stress onto the mechanics increases the cost tremendously because we need to increase the durability. Like, so right now we have a 1/4-inch shaft for the constant force springs. To increase, like, if say we increase the amount of torque, which increases our capacity, it also linearly increases the amount of torque, right? So the axle needs to be able to support that. And so trying to get the bearings and all the facilities for that is very costly. So as of right now, with this MVP, we have 1% capacity of a 9-volt battery. Yes.
So the second question is, do you have like a scalability plan for right now? It's like, you could put that in a small piece of electronics, right? So what's the practical goal for utility?
Yes, wonderful question. So this is not going to be going into your cell phone. This is not what this is for. This is for large scale to medium scale energy storage on the grid. So say you have a solar panel off the grid. You can have this storing it over time because solar panels, they need a place to put the energy, and lithium ion, right now, rechargeable large scale lithium ion batteries only last 10 to 15 years. So our goal is to increase that like by twice, so it lasts up to 30 years. And then once you have this, like say off the grid, you can service it yourself, and all you need to do is replace the springs, which decreases the cost of ownership tremendously. So the end product would probably be if you don't know about APS right now, that what we referenced earlier, the $294 million project, they're building large, cargo freights. Those are like full of batteries, and that's what they're trying to do. So that's kind of the scale that we want to hit to support the grid and stuff like that. Correct. Yes. Any further questions from anybody? Oh, Chase.
So does the amount of energy you lose by storing it onto the springs, the transferring from something to your mechanical battery, does that still make this worth it?
That's a really good question, and I would love to answer that question, but as of right now, the MVP does not work. I'm sorry. I tried my best. I spent so many hours trying to figure things out, but we would like to get this working, and then we can get back to you on that if you'd like, and create a whole analysis. Jewel, if you want to talk about like your system that you had set up for measuring the output, stuff like that.
Can I say something? Yeah. Yeah. So this MVP, our goal here was to show that it shows promise. It's not fleshed out, but we were able to prove that it shows promise, so we can scale this up more. Right now, we don't have numbers on whether it's worth it or not. Obviously, that's going to be a trade-off, but we think with enough iteration that this is going to be a good alternative. Jewel was also working on some simulations, and that's in the works. So we're not ready to show that, but that's in the works. Do you want to talk about it, or it's okay? Okay.
Sorry, Chase, we couldn't answer that question. Yes? Oh, the name of our project is Mech Volta. So that comes from mechanical and then like Volta because from Alessandro Volta, who created the first battery. So that's kind of our idea. And then we'll just go over our versions. We don't know for sure as of right now, but the project name is Mech Volta. Okay. Any further questions? No? Oh, yes. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, when we looked around at the current sort of mechanical storage things, there were two main ones that we found. The first one being the hydroelectric dam water storage, and that was like such a massive scale that it's hard to replicate, and also it's like location dependent. And then the second one would be a kind of like flywheel design, where you have a very massive, like basically like a top spinning, and they tried to siphon off energy from that. And they like that because the kinetic energy is like exponential with increasing velocity, which we could get into, but we chose not to go with that because of the gyroscopic like stability that you get from the spinning object. We wanted this to be able to work at any application, any kind of orientation. So this could be attached to electric vehicles as well. If we were able to get it in more compact and more energy dense, the end goal would probably be like our end goal would be electric vehicles, especially with a huge number of demand for batteries. And then as well, there was like buoyancy and gravitational and all that. Again, those come to like orientation, and so we tried to go away from orientation, and we chose this design. Does that answer your question?
More or less. I was thinking there's large storage capacitors which store charge, kind of to your point about storing off the grid.
Can I?
I know they're used industrially.
So yeah, so again, at the beginning, we were kind of talking about the negatives of chemical batteries. So those play into the capacitors as well. But there also was like a huge capacitor bank that caught fire that was built by APS. So that's another reason of why chemical batteries aren't very sustainable or safe.
Also, like we said, we're trying to emphasize the materials being used because a lot of the solutions don't use sustainable materials. And what we have with storage, our main idea was that with like solar or wind power, a lot of it's intermittent, right? There's not sun out all the time. There's not wind all the time. So kind of like those capacitors, but those are chemical. They have safety issues or materials being used that aren't fully safe for like landfills or environments. So that was mainly what we were trying to get.
Wonderful. Thank you. Does anybody have any further questions? I don't think so. Okay, awesome. Thank you so much for your time.